I might start crying. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. I might start to cry. You know, I don't even have words right now. I don't. I don't even have words right now. I'll try to obviously find the words as I go here. Usually I have a plan for what I'm going to say whenever I come in front of this camera, but after that, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go, man. You know, I'll say this to start. I'm so proud of the fight that this team showed, not just in this game, but all season long. You know, I've said it in multiple previous videos. This team is a perfect representation of this city. Just like the Lions, just like the Tigers, this Pistons team is gritty. We are gritty here in Detroit. This Pistons team is never out of it until the clock hits 0. And we were never out of it tonight until that clock hit 0, you know? We just kept on battling. We kept on battling in this game, and we kept on battling all season long. I'm so proud of the fight that this young, scrappy Pistons team showed tonight and this entire season. Like, we could have easily just rolled over and died in this game. With the way the first quarter went, with the way the third quarter went, and even, you know, in the earlier parts of the fourth quarter, like, we could have just rolled over and died. But we didn't. We did what we do. We did what the Lions do, what the Tigers do, what the Pistons do. We did what we do here in this city. We just kept on fighting. I'm so proud of the fight that this team showed tonight and this entire season, man. My heart's broken. We'll talk about that throughout this video, obviously. But again, I'm just so proud of this Pistons team. I couldn't be... My heart is shattered in a million pieces, but, you know, at the same time, like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself here, I'm sorry, but seriously, I'm just so proud as a Pistons fan. I love this team so much, and what a season. We'll talk about it, but man, what a season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Pistons lose Game 6 at home to the New York Knicks, and now the Pistons 2024-25 season is officially over. There's a lot to discuss in this video. We'll talk about the loss itself, the Pistons season that it was. Yeah, there's a lot to discuss, so let's waste no time. Let's get into it. But first of all, I do have some housekeeping notes I need to take care of. Thanks so much, Roast Summer, for sponsoring this video. They've got hot coffee, cold brews, chocolate, all kinds of great drinks and treats for you to try and enjoy and drown yourself in after this Pistons season-ending loss. Oh, some chocolate sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it? But seriously, visit our website, roastsummer.com, link in the description below, and if you find something that you want to try, you can always use my code TonyD to save yourself some money on your order. Shout out to Road Summer. Thank you once again to them for sponsoring this video. And also, if you're going to do me a favor, leave a like on this one. Comment your thoughts on this Pistons loss. And more so, I want to hear your thoughts on this Pistons season down in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. I very much appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of my housekeeping. Let's now talk about, as I said, this loss. The season was for the Pistons. All that kind of stuff. But before we do that, this is just the kind of guy I am. This is just the fan that I am, the content creator that I am. I do want to tip my cap to the New York Knicks and their fans. I know there are Knicks fans watching this video, and they're probably like, look at this clown about to cry after his Pistons loss. Knicks in 6. Like, deservingly so. You know, I would be doing the same thing if this was my team that just won this game and won this series. So I completely get it. But, you know, I always take my L's. I always tip my cap after playoff losses, after playoff series losses. You know, I did it after the Lions lost to the Commanders. I did it after the Tigers lost to the Guardians. And I'll do it again right now after the Pistons lost to the Knicks. Listen, that was a really entertaining playoff basketball series, man. You know, part of me, part of me really how do I word this? Part of me wishes that I could have watched this series just as a basketball fan, because seriously, what a great 6 games of NBA playoff basketball, man. It was so entertaining from the jump. Game 1 to game 6. Every minute was just cinema. It was absolutely unbelievable. You know, part of me does wish that I could have watched and enjoyed this series just as a basketball fan, but at the same time, I wouldn't want it any other way than being a Pistons fan watching this series too. Like, you know, I'm sure every Pistons fan watching this video agrees with me, and I'm sure every Knicks fan watching this video also agrees with me on that. What a series. New York Knicks, I tip my cap to you. Congratulations. Yeah, what a series, man. That was so much fun. So much fun. Moving on from them, though, let's now talk about my basketball team. A lot of our basketball team, the Detroit Pistons. We'll start with this Game 6 loss, and then we will talk about the season it was for Detroit basketball. Yeah, man. The game ended as I'm recording, like maybe 20 minutes ago. My heart's still shattered. It's going to be shattered for a long time, man. My heart's broken. You know, as I said to start the video, I am really proud of the fight that this team showed. They could have just rolled over and gave up after a rough first quarter, after a rough third quarter, and to start the fourth quarter even, you know, they could have just completely given up is maybe the wrong word, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. You know, it could have been a lot worse than a 3-point loss, and I don't know, it could be a completely different feeling right now as a Pistons fan. We could be talking about a double-digit loss or whatever, but man, this Pistons team, like I said, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it's the truth. Like, this team did what they have done all season long. They just kept on fighting, and it got to a point late in this game where I honestly thought they were going to win. I really thought they were going to win. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm so heartbroken right now. I'm heartbroken because we lost and the season's over. And because, again, with the way things were going towards the end of this game, with the fight the Pistons were showing, and just like the momentum feeling, if that makes sense, like, I thought we were going to win. I was very much expected to come in front of this camera and talk about a Pistons victory to force Game 7, man. Which, you know, you could argue maybe we should be talking about a win right now, but I don't know. Things really, I feel like, started to go downhill once Asar Thompson went to the bench, which, you know, JB, I love JB Bickerstaff. We'll talk about him in a second here. He was probably the perfect coach for this specific Pistons team this season. Like, he was awesome. Obviously, one of the finalists for NBA Coach of the Year. He probably will win it, but in my opinion and a lot of our opinions, like, he absolutely deserves it, you know? He was great for us this season. He did a fantastic job. But I know it's not just me that feels this way. There are a lot of decisions he made this game that kind of left us Piston fans scratching our head a little bit, you know? And that was one of the biggest ones. Like, just the overall handling of Asar Thompson in this game, specifically in that moment, it's like, why take Asar out right there? You took him out, and then instantly, that's when the Knicks started to get momentum back in this game, and they just really didn't look back from there, you know? Like, how differently, and it's easier to say this in hindsight, but like, how differently would this game have gone if you just kept Asar in there, you know? Again, it's easy to say this in hindsight, but man, I just wish JB would have kept Asar in there. With the way Asar was playing again tonight, just making a sudden impact every time he was on the floor, and vice versa every time he wasn't on the floor, like, you could feel his presence being missed. Like, I don't know why we took him out there, and a lot of Piston fans don't know why we took him out there. And he eventually came back, of course, but, like, it's just the point. That specific moment, I wish we would have kept him in there at that point, you know? But we did bring him back in there. You know, we had the matchup. We had him on Jalen Brunson before that, you know, that final shot, really that final dagger. man, that's just Jalen Brunson being Jalen Brunson. That's just a superstar being a superstar, man. He was able to get some separation on our best defender, and he knocked down that shot, man. Again, that's just a superstar being a superstar. That's just one of those plays where you got to tip your cap. It's not like it was a mismatch or whatever. Like, Asar was on him. That's exactly what we wanted. He was just able to create the separation and hit the shot, man. That's just a great player doing what great players do. I have nothing else to say than that, man. And obviously the final play, I couldn't tell you what happened there. Malik was open too. If Malik just catches the ball, oh man. And not to mention, like, another big thing about this loss, like Cade struggled so much tonight. And, you know, there was a lot of good and bad, I thought, from Cade in this playoff series. Listen, I'm sure you're probably going to hear it from, you know, there's going to be probably a part of the Pistons fan base or the national media that's going to try to push the agenda that Cade's just not ready. How do I word this? That he might just not be a playoff player, if that makes sense. Like, the lights are too bright, he's always going to choke. I'm sure you're going to hear that. That's not at all how I feel. This was his very first playoff series. He got valuable experience, and he's going to learn and grow from this. I 100% believe that. You know, I don't think he's going to be a playoff choker throughout his career. Like, he's going to be a star, man. I very much believe that exactly what we saw from Jalen Brunson tonight and in this series, I think that's coming from Cade Cunningham as well. There's a lot of Piston fans and there's a lot of national media members who feel the exact same way. There's a lot of good and bad, I thought, from Cade in this series. You know, unfortunately, with the way Game 6 went tonight, the bad is probably going to outshine the good. You know, I'm not going to lie. He was not great tonight. 9 of 22 from the field, 0 of 8 from downtown. Man, and like the turnovers all series long, like, yeah, he definitely has some stuff he needs to work on. I think we're forgetting he's only 23 years old. Like, he's still a baby, man, you know? Sometimes we forget that, but seriously, like, he's still a really young player, man. Like I said, he's going to learn from this. He got valuable experience, obviously, in this playoff series. He will learn from it. He will grow, and I just said about a minute ago, I'm going to say it again because I 100% believe it. What we just saw from Jalen Brunson in this series, having that clutch playoff gene and just always showing up when the lights are bright in the playoffs, you know, I very much believe that's coming for number 2. I definitely believe that's coming for Cade Cunningham. I really don't think I have anything else to really say about this Game 6 loss for the Pistons. Again, I've said it a million times already. I'll say it one more time right now. Like, I really am proud of the fight that the Pistons showed, if I haven't made that clear enough. I know I'm not the only Piston fan that feels that way. You know, our hearts are broken right now. They're going to be broken for a long time, but I'm sure a lot of Piston fans would tell you the same exact thing. You know, once this heartbreak goes away, we're going to look back on this game and be like, yeah, it sucked to lose. It sucked to lose that way as well, but man, the way they fought in this game and all season long, like, that's just who we are. That's who this gritty Pistons team is. And, yeah, man. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it kind of puts a smile on my face. If that makes any sense, it probably doesn't. Like, just the fact that we fought hard and it stuck to our identity, just kept on playing Detroit basketball, you know, not quitting until the clock hits 0, not giving up until the final whistle, until the game is over, like, just playing Detroit basketball as we have this entire season, just playing Detroit basketball until the very end. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, like, man, I'm glad if we were to go down, I'm glad we went down playing our brand of basketball, if that makes any sense. It might not. I'm sorry if it doesn't, but at the same time, I hope you kind of understand the gist that I'm trying to, you know, get at here. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't. Like I said earlier in the video, like towards the beginning, usually I have a mental script and I try to plan out like what I'm going to say. This video, I'm just there's no mental script or nothing. I'm just going, you know. But yeah, man. All right, let's now talk about this season it was for the Detroit Pistons. What a season for the Detroit Pistons, man. What a season. You know, if you would have told me and every Pistons fan a year ago that we would be in this spot, that we would be playing May basketball, and we would have the season we just had, we would tell you to go get drug tested. Like, I'm serious. We would absolutely be like, all right, like, yeah, you know, I don't even know if that would happen in 2K. Like, you know, with the way last season went and just with the way Detroit basketball has unfortunately been for the past number of decades, honestly, like, yeah, no way. If anyone would have told you that we'd be in this spot right now, no one would have believed you. But yet, here we are, man. Here we are. What a season for this basketball team. From 14 wins to 44. We got our first playoff win since 2008. I was 9 when we last won a playoff game, and I'm now 26. I was in, I think, 3rd grade. And now I'm like 4 years graduated from college. Like, you know, our first playoff win since 2008. And Cade Cunningham has emerged as a superstar. And there's many more positives to, you know, talk about. You know, so many positives for this basketball team this season. The first team in NBA history to triple our win total from one season to the next. Like I said, man, there's just so many positives to take away from this 2024-25 season for the Pistons, man. And among all the positives, all the positive takeaways for the Pistons this season, for me personally as a Pistons fan, one of, if not the coolest takeaways to, you know, take out from this 2024-25 season for the Pistons is the fact that it's cool to be a Pistons fan again. It's cool to be a Pistons fan again, man. You know, there was a long stretch there, especially the past, like, 2-3 years. I mean, it's been rough. It's been rough on the court for, like I said a minute ago, like decades, obviously. But especially throughout the past, like, again, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, man, you would say on Twitter that you're a Pistons fan, and people would be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, it was really bad. It was, to a lack of a better term, it was almost embarrassing to be a Pistons fan. Like, people would make fun of you for being a Pistons fan on Twitter and even in real life. Like, you wear your Pistons gear out in public and people would look at you like you're an ugly ogre. Like, I'm being so serious, dude. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not joking. Like, you would never see Pistons gear out in public. You'd see Lions gear, Tigers gear, Red Wings gear, never Pistons gear. If you go out in public wearing a Pistons shirt or a jersey or whatever, people would be like people will look at you funny. I'm being so serious, bro. There was a stretch there where, seriously, it was not cool to be a Pistons fan. It was sad. It was sad to be a Pistons fan, you know? And now look at us. Look at the way this city revolved around this team over the last month or so, especially within the last, 2 weeks during this playoff series. The whole city was revolving around us. Just like they did for the Lions, just like they did for the Tigers. This city revolved around the Pistons. And man, as someone who was a fan during the real dark period, like, that seriously warmed my heart. To see this city revolve around this team like we did for the Lions and the Tigers, bro, that seriously put a smile on my face. And, you know, we went from barely anybody wearing Pistons gear to a lot of people wearing Pistons gear. Good example, like when I go work out in the morning, like there were a lot of people wearing Pistons shirts or whatever, and you'd be like, go Pistons, and they would give you a go Pistons right back to you, like, you know? My whole timeline on Twitter during playoff games was talking about that Pistons playoff game. I can't tell you the last time I saw literally the entire timeline talking about a Pistons game. Live tweeting a Pistons game. I can't tell you the last time that happened, dude. This is all to say, ladies and gentlemen, that, again, it's cool to be a Pistons fan again. And I can't thank the organization enough from that. From top to bottom, I can't thank everybody enough. From Tom Gores to Trajan Langdon, JB Bickerstaff, Cade Parker, Cunningham. That was the sound of a goat, if you didn't know what that was. But seriously, Cade, the whole team, the players, the coaching staff, the front office, ownership, like everybody. This Pistons fan cannot thank you enough for helping be a part to make Detroit basketball fun again. For making being a Pistons fan cool again. I love this team so much. This specific Pistons team, no matter what happens in the future, this specific Pistons team, the 2024-25 Detroit Pistons, is always going to hold a special place in my heart because this was the squad that got it turned around, you know? They were the squad that went from 14 wins to 44. They tripled their win total from one season to the next. They are the squad that got their first playoff win, the organization's first playoff win since 2008. This was the squad that Cade Cunningham got his first All-Star game appearance with, and it likely is going to be, hopefully, an All-NBA team member this season. And this was the squad, this was the year in which Cade Cunningham, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, emerged as a real superstar in this league. This team is always going to hold a special place in my heart. I love this team. We, here in Detroit, we all love this team. We're just getting started, man. You haven't seen the last of us. Detroit basketball is back. We're not going anywhere. Detroit basketball is back, man. I can't wait to see what comes next. I don't think there's anything more for me to say in this video, ladies and gentlemen. So with that, that's all I got for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it as always. Thank you for watching not just this video if you made it this far, but thank you for watching my entire Pistons playoff coverage throughout this this playoff series run. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much if you did, in fact, watch my, again, my coverage throughout this Pistons playoff run. As I mentioned earlier in the video, leave a like on this one, comment your thoughts on this Pistons loss, and more specifically, this Pistons season down in the comments below, and hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. I very much appreciate it. We'll see you soon, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, go Pistons, baby.